let's dive right in here. Big picture stuff off of Friday. The Big Ten is 8-0. And as we actually, if you're watching live, Michigan State is just about to beat Bryant, and Oregon is eviscerating Liberty. So the Big Ten will be 8-0. That will set a record. There's never been a conference that has ever won that many games and lost 0 in the first round. The SEC has also won 8. It has lost 6. So 6 of its 14 teams that got in, they've been booted. But that combined 16 teams, that is half the field. And it's the most represented in the tournament in the start of the second round by 2 conferences ever. The ACC, as somewhat expected, at a pratfall. Only 1 team in the second round for the first time ever. We've had a 32 team. We've had 32 teams play in the NCAA tournament as far back as 1975. Duke is the only one standing. This is the first time ever. The ACC has only had 1 of the final 32 in the big dance. We've got some double-digit seeds that have moved on. In the West specifically, number 10 Arkansas, number 11 Drake, and number 12 Colorado State were all able to bump through. We do not have a lot of low major single bid league representation left in this tournament. Unfortunately or unfortunately for me, it's unfortunately. McNeese and Drake, you're our only hopes. Colorado State is also in there, but that is not a single bid conference representation. Obviously, Drake and McNeese are going to get going again on Saturday. We also have a rarity here. We have every single 1, 2, 3, and 4 seed. They have all won in the first round. This is only the 6th time ever this has happened. It happened in 94, 2000, 04, 07, and 17. So we were missing some of that big-time drama, some of the shock value. We did not have, your Oaklands over your Kentuckys, your Lehighs over your Dukes, go on down the line, let alone your 16s over 1s or anything like that. So for us waiting and hoping for some real madness, we didn't get it yet. The flip side of that is obviously you get the better matchups theoretically for the second round, and certainly I hope Saturday and Sunday deliver in a major way as opposed to what Thursday and Friday gave us, which we had some good moments. There's no doubt about it, but we did not have, we just did not have a lot of games come down to the final 2 minutes that felt back and forth. Little bit of a bummer. In fact, I think this is just coming in from our research stuff right now, KB, with Michigan State winning the way that it did. This is actually the highest point differential by the top 4 seeds in the first round in the history of the tournament. This is going to be north of 340 points in point differential for all 1s, 2s, and 3s and 4s. So statistically, we have never had a more lopsided first round with the big boys, the top seeds, ever in the big dance. A couple more before we get into the games. Richard and Rick Pitino, they're off to the second round. It's the first time in history that a father and son are dancing in the same season with wins in the first round. Correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe this will change late, but I don't believe we had a single player hit 30 points in the first round. That's only the 3rd time that's ever happened in tournament history. It was 05, 15, and now 25. So see you again in 35, I guess. Todd Golden and Mark Pope coaching highly seeded teams. They both got their first NCAA tournament wins. And there we have it. Before we get into the I want to get rid of the blowouts first, but KB, your thoughts on what transpired Friday? Take it as specific or big picture as you want. It's great to see you, bud. Thanks for hopping on. And your thoughts through specifically Friday, but I guess big picture first round, what we've seen so far.
Yeah, good to see you tonight. And man, it's good to talk some NCAA tournament. The day wasn't exactly, maybe what could have been. We had some potential upsets, including Robert Morris, who looked really good against number 2 seed Alabama, pushed the Crimson Tide late into the second half. That was like maybe the most interesting matchup, I thought, of the day. There were some really thrilling games throughout, but bigger picture to me, I thought Alabama and Florida, what they did in their respective games today, maybe high level, the most impressive. Alabama, of course, missing Grant Nelson for most of this game. Robert Morris comes down to the wire here, ends up taking the lead late with like 7 minutes left, and Grant Nelson checks in kind of unexpectedly. They were dealing with some injuries. Jaron Stevenson got hurt in the first half, so end up pulling away late. So that was a good win for Alabama. And then what Florida did to Norfolk State, illegal in all other 49 states, just an absolute beatdown. And yeah, like the Gators just kind of picking up where they left off in the SEC tournament. I'm sure we'll talk big pictures on the Gators, but man, they kind of look like the best team in college basketball right now. So yeah, I'll throw it back to you. Where do you want to take this?
Let's just get the blowouts out of the way first. But actually, before just one more volley your way, KB. Listen, I love this tournament. But I assume you feel the way I do. Just I wanted one or two games. Yes, a big time upset would have been wonderful, but beyond that, I just don't feel like we got more than like 4 or 5 games that actually, from start to finish, for the most part, I was like, all right, we're really cooking here. You
Mhm.
agree?
There, you know what, down the stretch here, and maybe this is just because we just hopped on late on Friday night, but Illinois Xavier was pretty thrilling. OU,
Until the final 10 minutes in real time when Will Riley buried Xavier. Yeah, it was. It actually looked like it had great potential. And then
hey,
you look up
listen,
and Illinois is another Big Ten team just storming into the second round.
sounds like someone who maybe faded the Illini coming into the NCAA tournament. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
That did happen. I
You
think
did
I
do
said
that.
it on the show, and I definitely tweeted about it. No matter what I did with Illinois, the exact opposite was going to happen. I picked against them. I picked Xavier to win. And here's Brett Underwood doing this to my bracket. There we go.
That's right. That's right. Yep. UConn OU was a pretty entertaining game as well. Defensive shootout. Um, UConn, the back-to-back national champions, ends up escaping over the Sooners. Alex Cameron was good in the second half, had 11 second half points after it looked like maybe Dan Hurley's best path, maybe benching him. So a good win for UConn, setting up a very, very interesting second round game against, of course, the Florida Gators.
All right, let's go through these the blowouts and get those out of the way, and then we'll talk the games that actually had some interest and intrigue to them. I'll go east, then west, then south, then midwest. Duke beats Mount St. Mary's 93-49. It's the third largest win in program history in the tournament. That 44 margin. Cooper Flag 15-7-4 in just 22 minutes. Duke could have played his bench and would have won this game. Duke is now going to play Baylor. Duke and Baylor have only met once in the tournament. That was in 2010. John Shire was on that team. That team won the national title. He had 20 points in that game. Arizona beat Akron 93-65. It is Arizona's first tournament win by 25-plus points in 22 years. Also, Arizona beat Akron on the boards by 31. It's actually the third largest rebound differential in the past 20 years in the tournament, and the best one in 13 years, period. The best in the past 20 years was the 2007 Florida team. They mauled Jackson State in the first round by 42 overall. Arizona didn't have any interest in keeping it close. This was obviously a common theme throughout Thursday and Friday. You had all these established, powerful programs seeded well. I'm literally talking to you right now as Oregon appears to win 81-49. Liberty was done before this, this 2 minutes in. Oh, Liberty with a 3. Okay. 81-52. Don't think that's going to be a cover, oh, by the way. Ducks get it done. We'll have more on them briefly later in this late night, abridged recap show. Yep, Dana Altman shaking Richie McKay's hand, and now the first round is officially done. Big Ten is officially 8-0. Elsewhere in blowouts, Florida beat Norfolk State 95-69. It was utter domination from the first minute. Robert Jones is truly a really good coach that deserves a shot at a bigger league. He did have an issue with the point spread. His team did cover the point spread, but they still got. If Florida wanted to, Florida could have picked this number. If Florida wanted to win this game by 57 points, it would have won it. But and then I saw you posted. We don't have the video. We don't need to play it. But he tried to crack a joke in the postgame presser, and it seemed to have fallen flat in the room.
Crickets.
So, it's what it is. Hey, we covered. Well, you did cover. Maryland 81-49 over Grand Canyon. That's the largest tournament win in Maryland's history. 32-point margin there. Derek Queen and Julian Reese both had a double-double again. They've now done that 7 times this season. There is no duo in the entire sport that has more in-game double-doubles same time than Queen and Reese. Good on them. And then Iowa State beats Lipscomb 82-55. TJ Otzelberger has 5 tournament wins. He now is the winningest NCAA tournament coach in Iowa State history. That's insane, but it is true. Josh Jefferson looked good. He had 10, 8, 8, and 8. Milan Momcilovic. This game was like tight early, and then Momcilovic had a nice little run there. He had finished with 20, and then they peeled away. Lipscomb didn't stand a chance. And then another blowout was Kentucky. Hey, Kentucky fans, look at you. Beat Troy 76-57. Don't need to worry about a 14 seed this year. In fact, Kentucky fans know this well, but it wasn't just Oakland. It was also St. Peter's. And so they snap a 2-game losing streak against teams seeded 14 or worse. Mark Pope gets his first tournament win. Kentucky had 23 assists on 28 buckets. Otega Owe was awesome again. 20 points, 8 boards, 6 assists. He is the second Kentucky player with at least 28 and 6 in a tournament game since Walter McCarty in 95-96. So those are there's a couple more blowouts we'll get to, but those were happening more as we were getting ready to go live. Take it away. Any thoughts on any of those teams, any of those games? It's all you, KB.
Whoo! Yeah, there's a lot there. First, I want to go to Florida. just right off the top, I don't want to bury the lead. I think Florida was the story of this first round on Friday. Yes, it was against a number 16 seed Norfolk State team, but this is a Florida team that is playing at a very high level right now. Just as we talked about just a few minutes ago, they won the SEC tournament. Having watched them the last couple weeks, I think I am ready to already change my take on Florida, which is I think this is a team that's going to be playing in the national championship game. And that doesn't sound exactly like a hot take, but it feels like we're on a collision course. Florida, Duke in the national championship. I mean, this Florida team is very deep. They're experienced. They've got a deep front line. They've got athleticism. They've got shooting. They've got defense. I mean, just everything that you want in a title team. Feels a little bit like the inevitability that we had with UConn last year, and even to some extent the year before. So very, very interesting to see kind of how this shakes out, because obviously they get the back-to-back national champions in UConn in round two. It's going to be interesting to watch how this Florida team shakes out.